In the culture then, kings will, with time, send his messengers to the neighborhood to identify beautiful girls. You know? Kama vile serikali wanaenda wakirecruit watu wa NYS, polisi. So then the king would send his delegation waende a certain region to identify beautiful girls. Alafu analetwa for purpose of the throne. Wasichana wanachukuliwa, wana-identifyiwa from the regional leaders, and then they are taken through a process, and those who qualified are brought to the palace. And then they are subjected to the process that were done by the eunuchs. They were men, hivi tu mnasikia manicure, pedicure yenye nafanya na wandugu hii. Sio revelation, ilifanywa kitambo. Kuna wanaume ambao walikaa kwa nyumba ya mfalme, kazi yao ni kutengeneza vidole ya wasichana wa mfalme, mke wa mfalme, kutengeneza miguu. Wale wasichana ni wanaume walipewa wapake marashi. Can you imagine wasichana wanachukuliwa, wanapakwa manukato for 6 months or a whole year, alafu anapigiwa marashi for a whole year. Unapakwa marashi mpaka ukipumua unapumua harufu ya marashi. Mpaka ukienda short call inanuka marashi. Wala mjui, angalia Waarabu. Kazi ya mwanamke Mwarabu ni kujipaka na kujipondoa. Ndio mume wake akifika, masingara imejaa manukato, kiasi kwamba by the time ananusa harufu ya mwanamke mwingine itakarimu muda. Hiyo mtaelewa baadaye. Wale mnajua siku ile kabla Mungu hajawapea magari. Mnakumbuka siku ile mlikuwa natumia matatu? Kabla Mungu hajawapea magari. Mnakumbuka siku zile? Come on, nasema nyinyi wote. Mnakumbuka siku ile mlikuwa bado mnatumia matatu? Mpaka Mungu akawapea magari. Siku hizi mnatumia magari yenu. Wale mnafunga mdomo nafungua mdomo. Nasema hivi, mnakumbuka siku ile mlitumia matatu? Mwanamke Msomali akiingia ndani, nyinyi wote lazima muingie kwa dini yake. Sheria ni kwamba lazima yeye anukie kuliko kila mtu, kusikuwe na mtu ako na marashi kumshinda, ili asikuwe na hisia ya kuna mtu ananukia afadhali kuliko yeye. That is the essence. Alafu wanaitwa wandugu zetu hii watu, they have several wives, they compete by how they beautify themselves. So Muislamu ako na wake 4 5, and they compete by how they do the marashi and how they beautify, so that the man can be so, ukiingia kwa hii nyumba hiyo harufu inakurudisha huko. But anyway, so the manicure and the pedicure haiko answer. Keep doing it, brother. It is biblical. Your job is secured in the Bible. Say amen. You serve kings and queens. Yes. Tulikuwa wapi? So they were looking for girls, and finally there is this girl. This girl is called Esther. Esther as an uncle. Esther was born in Uganda. I want you to picture Esther was born in Uganda. And then his father died. Not her father rather. Help me please. Her father died in Uganda. And then the mother died in Uganda. So she remained with an uncle called Mordecai. And because Uganda had issues and the father and the mother to Esther are dead, Mordecai sneaked to Kenya because he heard there were some jobs. There were some jobs in Kenya. There were greener pastures in Kenya. So Mordecai sneaked out of his home country and found a job in Kenya as a gate man. Are you seeing the picture? But because the father and mother to Esther are dead, so Mordecai had to carry the daughter. That's how Esther came with Mordecai. When they were looking for girls that matches the expectation of the palace, one of the reasons why they needed girls is for purpose of protocol and entertainment. When kings would come to visit a king, they will assign several women to take care of him, to manage him, to, all those. So they were in the palace for purpose of the welfare of the palace. So they go looking around, and Esther is noticed. And she's brought to the palace, and she goes through the process of the eunuchs. And the men were the ones doing that. But one of the conditions is that any man who must go and take care of the king's women must be castrated. Must be what? Castrated. Lest he does extracurriculum. So if you wanted to serve the king, they castrate you so that you look at women and that's it. Is it true? I overheard someone, I was not told, I overheard. Is it true that women prefer men doing their nails and their hair than men? It's biblical. So Esther is identified and she's brought and she goes through the process. One of the reasons was you have these women ready in case the king wants another wife. They just go to the storehouse and get one without taking the process. The king wants a wife tonight. So the process of 1 year I want a wife. So they would go and like, which one is ready, which one has been going through, which one looks like a good girl, and they pick. So a scenario like that happened. And the wife to the king called Vashti did what she did. And the king was wretched. And she was kicked out of the council of his governance. She was kicked out. And they said, let's look for a replacement. And that's how Esther is picked from among women. She was not the only one, from among women. And finally, she comes on board as a wife.